Hey there folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a little bit of an oddball video to throw in the mix. It's been a while since we've done some random project out here. A lot of it's been focusing on ECM Link in the past episodes. We've done a lot of modifications under the hood. Today we're going to do another mod under the hood. Once you do the modification and you put the 3-inch GM sensor in line in your upper intercooler pipe, if you blow a pipe off, even if you blow the one up by the throttle, it still tends to run a lot better than it would if it was stock. So it was a pretty nice surprise, a pretty pleasant surprise when I popped my piping off while I was on the interstate the first time a couple weeks back, and I actually got to drive the rest of the way with no boost up to the off ramp and pull over off of the highway, when before, if I blew a pipe, I'd have to pull over pretty much immediately on the interstate, get under the hood with a 7/16 wrench and start putting T-clamps back on and sliding pipes back into couplers. Well, we now have our speed density system enabled. We have a video coming very soon. We still have our MAF sensor hooked up, using that as like a secondary to try to dial in my VE table. We'll talk more about that in the coming episodes, but today I'm going to show you this funny little thing. I'm telling you right now, when I blow a pipe off in the middle of the night, I got to search for a flashlight, and it gets kind of tough. Let me show you what we're going to do here, guys. Side note, we have had some audio issues in these videos over the last couple of months. Randomly, if myself or if I'm on the other side of the camera, it seems that you guys can't really hear me very well, and I noticed that in editing, so I went and picked up a nice little shotgun style Rode microphone, and it mounts right up to my DJI Osmo Mobile 3 gimbal, so hopefully these shots are a little bit smoother. I can do some panning like so, go up and down and all that fun, and the zoom is really smooth on this thing. If you guys are into doing videos at all, this is definitely the way to go. It's actually got a really sweet feature where you can pick the subject and set it down on the tripod, and it'll actually follow. Like, I can zoom in on my hand right now, select it, and as I move my hand, it actually follows my hand where it goes. It's kind of sick. But anyway, back to the issue at hand. So, blow a boost pipe, and you're on the highway, everything's fine. You pull off to the side, you got to fix it up, and most of the time for me it's at night, and I see a lot of these newer vehicles are coming out and they have those sick underhood headlights, those underhood LEDs for the engine bay. Now, I've got my Astra light, and I love this light. It gets pretty bright. I mean, it's got the little flashlight in the end of it. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, there you go. But I mean, at nighttime, this thing usually does the trick. The problem is, it's over a year old now. It's been on enough charge cycles, and for the $100 I paid for it when it was brand new, I mean, don't get me wrong, it still works great. It's just when I need it half the time, the thing's pretty close to dead, or it's about to shut off in the middle of my projects, and then I get left using my smartphone, which I'd rather not. So instead of fighting with flashlights, I actually was at the parts store earlier today getting some stuff for the old lady's car, the Focus over there, and I saw these, and I'm like, well, hell, why don't we go ahead and put some nice bright LED, you know, they don't have a huge power draw on them. We have all the space to hook them up over here on our little breaker that we installed when we trunk mounted the battery. Why don't we put some lights under this hood, so that way when this happens, which inevitably, well, it's gonna happen again, my culprit ends up being right here by the blow-off valve, or I end up blowing the pipe right off the backside of the MAF coupling. It just happens. I got to get a bead roller or put some bumps on the edges of the pipe or something, but it holds for the most part for about a week or so, and then if it spikes at all, if it hits 18 pounds, spikes up to 20, 1 or 2 shots, or if I'm driving on it hard for a long pull, it will blast the pipe. It's almost inevitable at this point. So instead of being under this engine bay in the pitch black, or wishing that my flashlight had a little bit more juice, or trying to struggle with a smartphone in my teeth to see what I'm doing, we're going to hook up some little, I guess, a remote controlled lights, and we're going to wire them in so that we can run them with the car off. We don't have to have a key on switch source. We can just turn them on with a button. Okay, so here is the number on the bottom here. This is what they look like on the front. They're IP65 waterproof and dustproof. They're not the most expensive kit in the world, and I understand if some of you guys really don't like it, but for me personally, I need to be able to see. I hate not being able to see, especially when my pipes are blown off, as stated earlier. So this looks like a little, I'm I'm gonna guess it takes a little, probably a watch battery, but this is a little controller for it. Yeah, it comes with one of these great little buttons, little try-me buttons. Let me see if I can find the plug for this thing. Oh, yeah, there's a good amount of kit inside of this kit. We got 4 different LED bulbs. So these things are what we're gonna mount under the hood, and they come with adhesive backs on them, so we're gonna just have to hide the wiring once we put it all together. I'll get this out of this package already. Ay, 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 ay. They give you enough junk with it. When did opening a package become so difficult? Here, let me cut this thing out of here. Snip around this. And my guess is we're gonna have to cut that off anyway. All right. So out of the plastic we go. So, all right, we have our batteries, it looks like. We have a little microcontroller on the inside here, which also mounts under the hood somewhere. There's bundles of wire for each one of these leads, and we just have to find a place to hook up our charging power, which I'm assuming this switch is what we cut off and probably charges the circuit. I'm gonna have to read through the paperwork real fast and I'll verify. Give me just a second, I'll be right back, guys. All right, so with all this stuff here, this whole mechanism that they give you a battery pack, a little button to test the lights, and they're obviously in flash mode. This is where you cut it right here. You're gonna snip off this battery pack, you're gonna snip off this little test button, and these are your 2 leads. You're gonna connect one to power, one to ground. We're gonna go ahead and cut these off right now. Bam. All right, so those are snipped. So we're gonna find us a nice little place under the hood. I'm thinking we're gonna branch off of our backside of that breaker that we installed. And first we're gonna find a couple of places under the hood where these are gonna look pretty. We're gonna mount these up, and I'm just gonna take some thin strips of Gorilla Tape, and hopefully I can find seams under the hood to follow and kind of tuck the wiring behind those seams. And obviously we're gonna keep them away from the manifold, because the manifold will probably cook things. But for right now, I'm thinking we're gonna put 2 on the left side of the engine bay and 2 on the right side of the engine bay. And that way, if anything happens on either side, we've got some light we can actually see from the push of a button. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring you guys over to under the hood, and we're gonna find out where we're gonna put these things. All right, so if your DSM is anything like my DSM, and I'm betting you that it is, it's been around since '98. And I'm thinking the most appropriate place to put these little wires so that it reaches everything is gonna be, we're gonna mount, I think, the control box underneath the top of this cover, and we're gonna have 2 lights on this side and 2 lights on this side. And just in interest of keeping things clean and hidden, we're gonna have to pull that cover down, and you don't want to throw the cover away. Obviously, this heat barrier, it keeps your hood from getting too hot and your paint from cooking and burning up, because obviously there's a lot of heat under the front of these turbo cars. So what we're gonna do is pop those clips out, and I already tried this one right here. There's a missing one. They're just exploding. They've been heated and cooled so many times that they're as brittle as plastic can be. So make sure you pick yourself up some extra clips. Right here I have a tray, and this is one of the 3 trays that came in a big kit that I got off of Amazon. And I have a size right here. It looks like these little guys right here are going to be the ones that we're going to use to replace all those I guess off-white looking ones that are going to shatter the second I touch them. So just wanted to warn you guys about that. I'm going to get this thing popped off. We're going to find a nice location to put these, and let me sprawl it out real fast and show you what the reach looks like before we start popping things apart. The lights themselves are centralized, the controller's in the middle, and then it gives you 2 lengths to each one of the sets of wires for the lights here. So we're going to spread them out equally, and what I'm going to end up doing is following the washer fluid line straight down and wrapping it and that's where my power and ground wires are going to come off of the hood. So it kind of looks somewhat stock, but then we're still going to have some lighting under here at the push of a button. So without any further yammering, I'm going to pop these clips off, and maybe you guys will be able to catch it in high speed, but it's gonna shatter. Every single one of those clips is going to shatter. Just you'll see. All right, we got that thing pulled off of there. I think one clip, I have the two that survived. Well, they didn't really survive, they're all busted. But most of them just shattered into little pieces. I think you can kind of see right there, little chunks of them. Little shrapnel went flying all over the place, as I figured it would. But now we have access to under that cover. We're gonna figure out where it best suits to put these lights. And honestly, I think that on the inside edge of the reinforcement is where I'm going to start sticking them. So I think I'm going to go ahead and clean off the areas where I'm going to stick the adhesive to, mark them down, and then we're going to cut out a couple little holes probably on the driver's side where the cover is going to be, so that it can cover up all the wiring and all that. And I'm just going to tape the wiring up against the hood on the inside there with like a half strip of Gorilla Tape so it doesn't move. And then we're going to put the cover back over it. So I'm going to stick you guys off to the side and get to work. All right, I've got the brand new push clips put back in. There was a couple missing. These ones are black, the other ones were white, and they kind of blended in, but whatever. These ones are Phillips heads, so we can remove them if we want to. We've got one light right there and one down here, and on this side we've got one there and one there, and I just threw a strip of adhesive down to hold the wiring back in underneath the reinforcement parts of the hood. I passed the wiring, actually. Let me get you a shot of that. If you see right there, that's the wiring coming out, and all I've got to do now is put a little extension on the end of this harness. I'm going to just run over to the 12-volt supply on our breaker, and I'm going to ground it at one of these bolts back here in this ugly little space. And we're going to just follow this hose down for the wiper fluid. Once we're done with that, all we've got left to do is test them out, and I'm hoping that these things work, because like I said, man, I am sick of having to carry a flashlight in case anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be a boost pipe going. If you're trying to check your oil, you're trying to do anything, tighten a screw, do a little bit of maintenance work, installing something new, now you can just hit a little button and have some lights under here for the first time in its life. So I'm gonna get back after this, and I will see you guys here in just a minute, and hopefully we'll have this thing nice and wired up. All right, boys, we got this thing put back together correctly. I took and ran the wire straight across, like I said, heat shrinked it. I just connected it down here to my breaker, and I grounded it to the chassis right there. So I guess, let's see how ridiculous this looks. It's probably gonna be hard to see in the daylight, but we're gonna hit our little power switch here. Boom, we got lights. I'll have to come out here in a little while when it's dark out and show you guys how much you can actually see under this hood now. But before that, actually I'll save this to the end. I'll see you guys back here once the sun sets. All right, guys, I was just kidding with all that. Honestly, it's not that dark out yet. It's pretty dark, but at the same time, these came out great. Let me get down here. Oh, the light's kind of flooding here, but they are extremely bright. I'm pretty sure you can tell. Let me see if I can get you a better angle where it's not so washed out looking, but now I can see everything under the hood. If something pops, something blows, it is what it is. It's not going to be the end of the world anymore. I can fix it on the side of the highway. I can pull over on the side of the road, check my oil, do whatever I got to do. And this little thing right here turns on and off with a push of a button. So I really can't complain anymore. It's all wired in. These things don't draw very much, so I'm pretty sure I could leave them on for probably a few days before it would kill the battery. But anyway, I really like it, and it doesn't look too terrible. I know it's kind of ricey with the crazy stupid lights flashing, which honestly I will never use unless I'm broken down in the middle of the woods or something, and I don't know. I have no real reason to want to use those crazy flashers, but for the 25 bucks that I spent on these things today, I really can't complain. I'm actually kind of freezing my butt off out here, so we're going to end it with that, guys. Simple power and ground. We just hooked it up to a constant 12-volt source. The controller's all tucked away behind the insulator. All the lights are mounted. I put a little tiny bit of tape over on the sides here. I'm sure you guys will see it. I don't know, you can't really tell right now, but you'll see it in other videos. But these things are brighter than hell, so I'm gonna go off to the side here and show you from a distance. Yeah, you can see it's pretty well dark out right now, and that's got plenty of light under it. So with that being said, I'm gonna call that a win. I'm not gonna complain too much about it. It's exactly what I wanted to see. So also, you know, it is getting darker out at what, 6:15 now, and we're in the Northeast, upstate New York, so this will be great when I start my projects after I get out of work or before work or whatever, and it ends up getting too dark before I finish them. So I am totally happy with this. This works out perfectly for me, and if you guys have enjoyed this video, make sure you give it the thumbs up down below. Subscribe to see some more interesting content. I promise we'll have some more fun with ECM Link here very, very soon. Episode 3 is still in the works. We're still working on some speed density hiccups, but I'm learning a lot, and I'm going to share it with you guys very, very soon. So until next time, you guys take care, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Adios.